Hey, everybody. Obviously, first let me say that no one in this organization, including the coaching staff, was happy with the way the season concluded. We, like all teams, are the sum of our habits, and beginning with myself, everyone contributes to that. And our habits just are not good enough as we sit here today. As we continue to build towards what we've called sustainable success, we believe it's what our fans demand and are owed. We gain a great deal of experience from the bubble experience we just had and the opportunity it provided us to be tested. At the same time, this is not a decision we made right out of that immediate disappointment. I've known Alvin for more than 15 years. He's a person who cares deeply about people and the communities he coaches in. This is really difficult on a human level. Professionally, we enjoyed a great deal of success together at our first stop. I still believe that the job he did guiding us to the conference finals in 2010 was among the very best coaching jobs I've ever seen. He hasn't forgotten how to coach, and this isn't about any shortcomings that may be perceived in that way. This is far more about finding the right fit and a shared vision for a very young and ambitious group moving forward. I'm sure that one of the first questions for you all today will revolve around candidate names and/or characteristics we will be seeking. Respectfully, I ask that you understand I will not be discussing any of that. The implication, of course, being that there's something lacking from the previous regime that we're going to go get and something specific they weren't doing, and I don't think that's fair to anyone here. So with that, I'll take any other questions you have.
Rod Walker, go ahead, please.
Hey, David, Rod Walker with the Times-Picayune. I just wanted, when did you all reach the decision? And it's sort of a two-part question, depending on your answer, I guess. But if the Pelicans were actually playing right now, would you still, come to the same conclusion?
I've been asked that already by friends and family as well. I don't think it's safe to say that that would have changed anything about this decision ultimately. I think if you look at my history as a general manager, the immediacy of what's happening in a given situation in terms of results is less important than the process to us. And this was a process that we looked at the totality of what almost felt like multiple seasons this year and felt like it was the right thing to do. And it was absolutely not a function of solely the bubble results. And frankly, had we been more successful in the bubble, this could have still been the decision we made.
Will, go ahead.
What's up, Griff? This is Will Guillory with
Hey, Will.
Athletic. I know you say you don't want to discuss characteristics you're looking for in the next coach or anything like that, but how soon are you guys hoping to make this decision? Is this something you want to make quickly, or do you think it's going to take some time?
Yeah, Will, I appreciate the question. No, we will not be quick with this at all. This is not a rush. We have a job that we believe is going to be the most attractive in the NBA, quite frankly. And with all of the candidates still in the bubble, for the most part, I mean, obviously there are some that may not be, but for the most part, all of the candidates that you may want to talk to are still with teams in many circumstances. So I would say that the virus itself is going to dictate some of our timeline. This isn't going to be done solely via Zoom. So depending upon when we're able to sit down and really get to know one another, we'll have more updates from then on.
Christian, go ahead. All right, Fletcher, go ahead.
David, obviously this was a significant financial commitment. Alvin still had 1 year left on his contract. The league and the team were dealing with the pandemic. If you wouldn't mind, how did that conversation go with Gail Benson, knowing the financial commitment to moving on from Alvin and then having to hire a new coach?
I don't think at any point during the time that we've been here, money has been a driving force or a consideration of any substance to Mrs. Benson nor her leadership team. Her commitment to this is absolute, and her partnership in this has been spectacular. And as you all know, she very much cares about Alvin Gentry as well. So it was a conversation that revolved much more around the human component and far less around the finances.
Scott, go ahead.
Griff, I'm just curious what your thought process for the next coach is as far as melding thoughts of the management side and the coaching side. Do you want a coach who can operate kind of in a silo and you're sort of give total autonomy, or is it someone you are looking for total cooperation alongside you, the training staff, etc.? What's kind of the importance of that?
I guess I'd say both, Scott. It's not fair to say somebody needs to be someone who works in partnership with the front office that doesn't have autonomy. We work in partnership with ownership, and we have the autonomy to do our job. So it's our intention to deliver the same thing to whoever that candidate might be at the end of the day. We're very, very mindful of working in lockstep. This is all about vision, and if the vision of ownership, the front office and coaching is shared, and we can get buy-in by the players, then that's what we do, and that's what all of this is about.
Christian, if you're there, go ahead.
Hey, Christian Clark here with Ball.com. You said throughout the year that Zion is just such a unique athlete. I guess this is more of an organization thing than just a coaching thing. But what are you just hoping to see from him in the coming months and leading up to next season?
The same thing that I think we expect to see from all of our players, quite frankly, especially our young group. Learning how to be professional and being consistent on a daily basis is going to be critical for all of us. And I think we expect the same of him that we expect from everyone. It's going to be a totality of commitment on the part of everybody on this organization, and Zion's no different.
Griff, I guess what's the status of the rest of the coaching staff? Is that something that will go on until the next coach is hired and let that person make those decisions?
Andrew, thank you for that. I should have said something in my opening statement about that. We feel very strongly about the assistant coaching staff we have. Very many of them we've already connected with. In fact, I've connected with almost all of them. And we feel strongly about the quality of staff that we had. Some of those individuals potentially will be head coaching candidates elsewhere. Chris Finch certainly among them. And we feel strongly about Chris. He'll be part of our conversation moving forward, and it's our intention that many of our staffers here will continue with the next regime at some point.
Shamin, go ahead.
Hey, Griff, are you guys planning on utilizing any external search firms to assist with the process? What will the search be based with external resources or not?
I would get into that later. I don't intend to really engage a search firm as we speak now, but we could certainly change course relative to that if we felt it relevant. Currently, I wouldn't say that that's our plan.
Andrew Doak, go ahead. All right, Doug Mouton, go ahead, please.
Sorry, Craig.
Doug Mouton, go ahead.
Yeah, hey, I'm assuming you can hear me, sorry. Which reasons behind this? Would you say it's just a win-loss thing, or is there something about the way the team was playing or acting, or if you could go through maybe some of the thought process beyond just the win-losses, what didn't you like about what you were seeing in your team?
Doug, I think it's really important that I clarify this. The wins and losses have very little to do with this and the immediacy. This is really about the process. This is about a shared vision of how we're going to move forward and what this looks like as we build. It's not about what just transpired. So the wins and losses certainly are revealing of our process, and it's our process that we want to attack here, not necessarily the immediacy of our disappointment in the results.
Andrew Doak, if you're there, go ahead.
Hey, sorry, Griff, dealing with some technology with the iPhone, so I apologize.
It's okay. The new world we live in, Andrew. The new world we live in.
I apologize. I think I heard you in your opening statement say, and I think I've heard you say this before, you believe that this can be the most attractive job in the NBA. And I'm just curious why you think that is and what makes you believe that so much.
Well, I think starting with ownership and Mrs. Benson's total commitment to this, that's really attractive when you're building a staff. And I think if you look at the roster and the talent we have and the potential talent that we could add utilizing the draft picks we have, this is an opportunity that I think most people anecdotally would tell you is in a good position to succeed for any coach that comes in. So that's why I say that.
Thanks, sir.
Will, go ahead.
Hey, Griff, this is Will again. So I guess just looking forward, how much do you plan on hiring a coach that fits into the style that you built this year, or do you feel like the style you wanted to switch a little bit? How much did that kind of play into your decision?
It's not as much about style. Obviously, Alvin and I won in the past playing what was at the time very fast. That team's pace would be towards the bottom of the NBA right now. So this is much less about style of play, and it's really more about engendering a level of buy-in of what our future should look like, and that's really what we're focused on is building towards the ethos that we discussed. You know, won't bow down is not something that we used as a marketing campaign. We want that to be a part of the fabric of our identity, and we're going to continue to build towards that.
Fletcher, go ahead.
I have a two-part question here for you, Griff. You mentioned Chris Finch. Obviously, he interviewed in Minnesota last year. Maybe with the ties in Chicago now, he interviews there. Will he interview with you? And also, too, maybe as somebody who's done this a long time, why is it so hard to maybe, you know, NBA coaches come from so many different walks of life, you know, second and third opportunity head coaches, G League coaches, first-time head coaches. Is there any thought process you have as to why there's no, everybody kind of follows the leader and starts hiring young assistant coaches or older coaches? Why is there no pattern, maybe in your assessment, for NBA head coaching positions?
I think you just mentioned, Fletch, what is quite often the pattern. It's a copycat league, right? So when someone has success with a young, unproven assistant, then everybody thinks that's a pathway that's now open. I think our approach to this whole thing is to find the exact right fit. And I think it's very difficult to find the right voice with the right group of people that have a shared vision. I would tell you that hiring a coach is the hardest thing we do. From a front office perspective, because it impacts every single part of your organization, and it has the biggest impact every day on your players and the culture that you're trying to build. So it's a very big job. It's a difficult job. So finding the right person is going to be a very thorough, mindful process on the part of everyone. But we haven't ruled out any potential candidates of any type, and I won't rule any in for this moment either. But I will tell you that Chris Finch is going to be a candidate several places around the league, certainly.
Ollie, go ahead.
David, you mentioned earlier that it's a little bit, not much of a concern, but that there are other candidates. A lot of candidates are currently still with other rosters. Their teams are still obviously playing in the bubble. How mindful do you need to be of that, considering next season, you know, is going to start awfully quick, right? December 1st.
Well, yes and no, it'll start December 1st. So I think the league has that as a placeholder of sorts. This is an unprecedented time in the history of sports. We're going into a very important offseason here, an offseason that Trajan and Swin and our staff have been doing a really good job of building for off of the floor. This is going to be unprecedented in terms of turnaround time, the lack of available salary cap numbers as you're building towards next season. You really don't know when the season starts. You don't know what the numbers look like. So it's going to be challenging in many, many ways. And that's a big part of the reason, quite frankly, that we're going to be really slow to make a decision in this, because there's so many factors that contribute to the right fit that we need to have far more information about next season itself before we can properly identify the right human being to lead the group.
Jeff Duncan, go ahead.
Hey, Griff, you got such a young roster going forward. You got obviously Zion, who's a centerpiece type talent. How important is skill development and player development in the leader you're looking for in this hire?
I would say very, but that's true of every team, Jeff. And I think it's true that this group has really good work ethic. I think we've got a group of coaches in the player development area that have done a fantastic job. If you look at the development of Brandon Ingram, who's a 23-year-old 6'9.5" two guard at this point, you'd have to say that Joe Boylan and Fred Vinson in particular have done a great job there. Lonzo's shooting and progress that he's made, I could cite chapter and verse in several of our players. We're proud of our player development staff and the way that's gone, and it's going to continue to be a critical element of what we do. You know, again, you're talking about a 23-year-old first-time All-Star that should be Most Improved Player of the Year, and a great deal of that is attributed to the coaching staff.
So if I can just follow up on that, it sounds like you're looking more for just an overall leader of your on-court basketball operation than necessarily just a skill developer, because you have the confidence in your development staff right now.
Sure, and again, Jeff, in fairness, I think everyone's always looking for the overall leader. It's just people get deeper in the weeds on whether or not you want to have a bent specific towards player development. We want to find the right fit and the right human being to lead this group, and if their background happens to be player development, then so be it. But we don't have a specific angle we're taking in all of this at the moment.
Shemay, go ahead.
Obviously, selecting the next coach, you have to be mindful of their fit with the players. Will you be taking any input from players you view as the core going forward with regards to how they feel about potential candidates?
Shaman, actually, it's interesting. We talked about this a little bit today after I met with Alvin. We didn't talk to the players about this decision at all previously. We didn't get their input before making this specific decision. And I don't really intend to get their input specifically about a coach before we make that decision. What we've tried to do throughout is build deeply rooted relationships with our players. We think we understand what they're about and how they look at the game. And because of that, because of the work that Trajan and Swen and our staff as a whole have done throughout this season, we feel very confident that we understand what our players need to succeed, and we're confident that they trust us in that space as well.
Doug, go ahead. Doug Mutano.
Yeah. Hey, Griff. Sort of part B on what Jeff Duncan asked. This roster being so young, and I happen to have two kids the same age as most of your players, is there something about a maturity or something about a coach you'll look for who can handle such a young team, even the off-the-court stuff? Is that a component you look for, someone who can manage a team that is really young in every way? Does that make sense?
It makes sense, Doug. I appreciate it. I would tell you it's a little bit of both, quite frankly. We're a really young group, but again, getting back to Brandon Ingram by way of example, here's a kid that played this season at 22 years of age, and we had to beg him to work a little less towards the end of the season because he was doing two-a-days on every practice day. Lonzo Ball, very similarly, did the same thing. I could tell you the same about Nickeil Alexander-Walker and several of our veterans. We've got a young group, but we have a group that's really, really driven. And I think what we need is to just congeal all of that in the right direction and to get buy-in and a shared vision and really profit off of the fact that we have kids that are highly motivated. And yes, we're very young. I would say that we're not seasoned as winners. And that's something you learn. That's a talent in and of itself, and it's not one that we're long on right now. And we need to continue to evolve in that way.
Rod Walker, go ahead. This is going to be the last question, everyone.
Hey, Griff, when you have a job opening like this, does your phone just blow up? Was it blowing up this morning with people interested in the job? Or how does it sort of, kind of play out when you have an opening like this?
It's kind of interesting, actually. If you're somebody who prior to this Zoom availability from a coaching standpoint was reaching out, it's probably a good way to not be part of the process. I think we very much are mindful of the fact that many things happen during the course of moments like this, and character is often revealed in situations like this. And we tried to do everything we could to speak to as many of our staffers as possible today. And yes, I assume the phone is blowing up, but I wasn't really focused on much of that.
Great. Thank you, Griff. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.